Welcome to Become a Right-Click Menu Guru. And let's go ahead and just jump right away into the software. I don't have an outline per se, but it's going to be pretty intense. There's a lot of stuff to cover. Now, the right-click menu, I can't stress this enough, is essential. You really need to master it in order to get the most out of the Logos books. Now, in Logos, there's two types of books. There's a Bible. So let me go ahead and just open one up. I'm going to use the NASB 95, and I'm going to type it in the library window there. So library, NASB 95, and we'll click on the title to open. Now this is a Bible, and let me turn off that visual filter for now. And then the second is a non-Bible. These are your standard books. So it could be a commentary. Let's use the Bible Knowledge Commentary. That's pretty straightforward, and we'll open that up. Okay. And let's turn off all the notes on that one. All right. So we have here a Bible and we have a book. And these are the two basic types of books in Logos. There are some variety of other type of information, but this is really what you need to understand. So a right-click menu for a Bible is going to look different than a right-click menu for a book. And so let's take a little peek under the hood. So here I am in Acts chapter 2, verse 1. Now I'm going to right-click on the word Pentecost. Now, as you can see, the right-click menu has a whole bunch of information at the left, and then depending on what you click on the left will determine the menu at the right. But I just want you to see quickly, and we'll come into more detail in a minute, but look at all this information that's jam-packed into one word in a Bible. Now, if we were to right-click on the word Pentecost in a book, you can see a dramatical difference and a drop in the amount of information available. Now, in a book, there are other links. For example, we have a Bible link, and if we right-click on that, notice the menu changes. So the book menu, or the book right-click menu, will change based on what you're clicking on. Is it just plain text? Is it a Bible reference? Is it a tagged word? So, for example, if we enable the fact book enabled feature here, you can see that Holy Spirit is underlined. And if we right-click on that, you're going to see that the fact book tag will appear. And that can be handy when you're working within a book. All right, so just want to make sure you understand the difference between the two right-click menus. Now, let's spend our time mostly on the Bible, though we will do some more searching with the books. And feel free to just type in your questions along the way, even right now as you're thinking, hey, I came to this webinar, I was hoping to learn A, B, or C, whatever that is, feel free to post that so I make sure I don't miss covering it, or even some things that are confusing to you. All right, so most of you are familiar with the right-click menu. I'm going to right-click on the word Pentecost. Now, it's really important you understand the structure of the menu. This will save you time in finding what you're looking for, and there is some patterns that Logos has in the menus. The first one will always be the selection menu. So here I've right-clicked on Pentecost. If I were to right-click, let's say, on the phrase, the day of Pentecost, and then right-click, you'll see that the selection has changed to the day of Pentecost. And changing the search, what you're selecting, will change what you search. Very important. The next thing that comes up is location. This is really important, not only with the Bible, but also with non-Bibles, other books. And I'll demonstrate that in just a moment. But it gives us a reference. We know exactly where we are, and we know exactly where that phrase came from. Now, let's jump over to a book, and let's see what happens when we right-click. So we right-click on the word annual. We see the selection. Now, because this is a commentary, we get its location, Acts 2:1. But if we open up, let's say, Calvin, and we go to Institutes of Christian Religion, and we just open up any one of those, and let's say we right-click here. We're in Institutes 2, paragraph 8, section 53, and we'll right-click on the word righteousness. Notice again the selection. Notice that we have this reference to this whole paragraph, and even though we don't see the 53, it really is there because, in fact, if I just slightly move my mouse, sometimes we can see that pop up. This one's probably a little, there we go. There you can see our location. This can be very powerful because let's say you want to find out if anyone else has cited Institutes Book 2, Paragraph 8, or Section 8, Paragraph 53. And someone may mention it and actually make comment on it. So let's click on the reference, and then let's search not just this book, but let's search all books. So we went over to the right, we went down about halfway, and we located books, and we clicked it. Now we're searching on this location, and this is so powerful because look at the results. Now, results will vary based on your library, but we found every place in every book that made reference to this location. If I click on book, you can see the variety of results. We certainly have more Calvin books, but we have other things like journals. That can be very helpful. Systematic theologies, and the sort. And as we scroll through here, we can see there's quite a few books that are actually referencing this particular paragraph from John Calvin's Institute, even dictionaries, etc. So depending on your library, you may get more or less results, but here's the bottom line, is you don't have to work hard to run this search. If you're in the institutes, wherever you are, just right-click, locate that reference, and then do search books, and you can find that reference everywhere. And usually when you do this kind of location searching, you're going to find people who comment on it, and that is gold. All right, let me go ahead and close both those windows and return to the right-click menu in our Bible. So let's right-click on Pentecost. Now, after we get past the selection and the reference, we're going to get into the word study section. This is really key. Now, you'll notice in this particular section, we have two Greek words. We have the article, and we have the word that the article is associated with. Now, you have to watch out for these because these double instances can really throw you off. You can be looking up just mechanically, automatically. Oh, here's the word. I click on the lemma, and I do a Bible word study, and you're actually just looking up the article. When in reality, what you want is that second Greek word. This is particularly important with the Hebrew. Hebrew does this all the time. Now, this doesn't happen on every word, but when it does happen, you've got to be aware of it. So think of this as the word study section. And the way it's broken down is very straightforward. Those icons are so critical. Learn to memorize those icons. Your brain will process icons faster than text. And so I've trained my brain to remember the icons. Bookmark for location. This one is a paragraph out of a book. So this is the manuscript. Then we have the circle, like a lexicon. We go in circles trying to find the word meaning. Then we have the square root, which is for the root word. And then we have the @ symbol for morphological information. And then we have Strong's and Lonita. Each one of these is going to give us more information. And as we've done before, if we click on any of these items, notice how the right-click menu changes. And we'll come back to the right-click menu over here, but I want to at least overview these. Now, when it comes to using the right-click menu, it's important to understand why these are here. Manuscripts, and we're going to use the second word. When we're searching the manuscript, we're searching the exact spelling in the original language. So this word right here, Pentecostus, is the full Greek word that you would see in a Greek Bible. So if we click on this and we do search Bible, we're going to find every instance where this word appears with this exact spelling. All right, this is key. So when we say exact spelling, that means it's an identical word in every sense. It's only 3 times, Acts 2:1, Acts 20:16, and 1 Corinthians 16:8. All right. Now, search on the main manuscript, the manuscript form is really great for finding identical meaning. Usually, if it's spelled the same, it is typically going to have the same meaning. Not always, but typically. So when I do word studies on a word, I will search here first. I just want to find all the identical locations. But if we right-click and we choose lemma, we now strip it of its morphological information. We're just looking at the dictionary or lexicon form or lexical form. And we click that circle, we again go to the right, there's more options, but we can search for Bible. Now we're getting, in this case, 3 results. So in this case, it was identical, and that happens a lot with nouns. But if we go to verbs, things can change. So let's do this. They were all together in one place. Suddenly there came from heaven a noise like a violent rushing wind. So let's right-click on the word came. All right, and we're going to search on the manuscript, which is in ghetto, and we'll search Bible, and we got 202 results in 195 verses. But if we right-click on came, and we choose the lemma, Gittimi, and we do search Bible, we now got 3 times the results, 673 in 626 verses. So you can see that searching on manuscript and searching on lemma is so important. Now, again, the lemma is stripped of all its morphological information. In other words, person, all those things that you see in the morphological search engine. And so we're looking, and what the advantage of this is, here's the key, is that we're going to find all the places this word is used, okay? So if you're trying to do an exhaustive word study, don't do it on the manuscript form, do it on the lemma form, because that will find every occurrence in the New Testament, because we're searching a Greek word. And this is how you do concordant searching. You right-click, choose the lemma, and now you'll find every instance. Now, the root word is a little more complicated because it's a scholarly idea, and what they're trying to say is, look, this root word, in this case it's the same, is related to the lemma, which is, of course, related to the manuscript. When you search on the root word, you're now going to be searching a variety of words, words that may not even have any relationship from a meaning. So look at this. We searched on came, and we got genealogy and father and so forth. It's a lot of variety. And so if you can think of it this way, all right, the very manuscript is kind of like the fruit, and the lemma is like the branch, and the root is like the root, right? So flowing out of the root are these various branches, and then the specific meaning is that fruit. And that's a good way to think about word study. So very rarely will I search on the root word, but I will search between the manuscript and the lemma multiple times. Now, if you are interested in morphology, that's where this comes in. Now, what is morphology? Morphology is a way of defining what the word is and what it's doing. So in this case, we're looking at a verb, and then we have the information, tense, voice, and mood. It's aorist, it's middle, it's indicative. It's got all this extra information, third person, singular. There's person and number. Now, this is important sometimes when you're studying words because it can really inform you of what's going on. A great example that I'll use, that I like to use often, is enter the narrow gate, all right? And let's just do an example of this. So let's go to Matthew, I think is where it is. There we go, Matthew 7:13, all right? So if we right-click on enter, we discover it's a verb, but it's aorist active imperative. So it is a command, but it's aorist active imperative. Now, if we go down to the next one, which is beware of false prophets, we right-click on that, we also find out it's a verb. It also is imperative. It's also active, but it's present active. So the difference is aorist active versus present active. And the difference in meaning is huge because aorist active imperative is a one and done command. Enter through the gate one time. Don't need to enter again, which is a perfect picture of salvation. But beware is a present active. This is a command that you continue to do. So being aware of false prophets is not a one and done command. This is something we must always be diligent to be aware. We must be vigilant against false prophets. So this is where morphology comes in. And I've got webinars on how to do Bible word studies, but I at least want to explain one of the reasons why we want to search this. We want to understand the difference, but we can do some real powerful searches. So for example, let's just search on the morphology. So we're going to do select the morphology here, beware, and we do the command. Now look what we're doing. We're just searching the morphology. We've stripped it of the dictionary form. Now this helps us see if these forms repeat themselves in the text that we're studying, okay? But if we combine both, all right, watch this. I'm going to click on the manuscript form, and actually, let me do it this way. Let me click on the lemma form, and you'll see that we have this search option here. Now we can search on the lemma, we can search inline, Bible, all open books, all, or look at this last option. You can see it's the lemma plus the morphology. This is one of my favorite searches with the right-click menu. So what's going on? I'm literally searching the Greek word beware, I'm searching on its morphological form, so this gives me all the same forms, all right? This is like searching on the manuscript. But what I can do now is I can click in the search box and hit the down arrow key if this menu doesn't appear, but it should appear. And I can go in now and make changes. So let's say I want to study this word beware, but I really don't care about gender. I really don't care about number, and I don't care about person. All I care about is I want to find all the verbs that are present, active, imperative. In other words, tense, voice, mood. By unchecking those other ones, I can very easily change how I'm searching. And now if I press enter and run the search, we get some results that aren't that great. Let me try that again. Make sure we don't get those. And there we go. And now we're searching with just those. So this is very powerful. And if we click there again, and let's say we just want to focus on every place this is a command. Beware is a command. We press enter, and there they all are. That's the power. And this is important when you're trying to find patterns. Let's see all the commands that we are to be beware of, right? Beware of practicing your righteousness, false prophets, beware of men, watch out and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. This can be a great little study of the commands that are important for us to beware. And what would be really interesting is to determine which ones are the words of Christ. But that's a more complicated search. So very important having this flexibility. All right, returning back to the right-click menu, after the morphology, we get into the dictionaries, the lexicons. We're still in the original language, but now we can go to Strong's or we can go to Louw-Nida. Now, Strong's pretty straightforward. You click on it once. Look how the right-click menu changes. Now, typically what you're going to want to do is just open up the dictionary. To do that, we go to Lookup. Here it is. And you'll see that Logos is inserted from your prioritization key books. So we have DBL Greek. That's one of my prioritized books. We got the Word Study Dictionary, etc. So if I flow my mouse over DBL Greek, look at this. I don't have to open up the book. There's the dictionary entry, the first couple paragraphs. I love that feature. But if I do click it, I now can open it up and I can see it and read it. And now I know the possible 4 definitions. So I really like this feature with the Strong's number and just going right to the dictionary that I want. Underneath that is Louw-Nida, which is only for the New Testament. You're going to see this all the time. And as I have 2 webinars on Louw-Nida, the thing to remember about Louw-Nida, it's a classification system. So if we click on LN27.59, we go over to the right to look up and click Louw-Nida. We're taken right to the entry, and here's the definition. Now, it's a classification, and you can see that classification right up here. It's a category is learning. It means to be ready to learn, pay attention, and then it's in 27.59, to be in a continuous state of readiness, to learn of any future danger, need, or error, and to respond appropriately. So this is pretty cool, but watch this. I'm going to click the hamburger menu here at the top left. You can see it right there. And this puts me in the dictionary. I'm going to go to category 27. I can see that there's a lot of learning categories. Here's our F category, and here's our 59. Now, we can look at all the other words related to paying attention, and there's actually quite a few from 55 to 60. So the power of this is the following. We believe the Holy Spirit is involved in the creation of the Scriptures. He uses men through various times, various places, and God breathed the Word, right? So when there's a specific word in the text, that means God chose that word and not another. And so in this case, God chose 2759 to be the word he wanted to use regarding being aware of false prophets. He didn't use these other ones. So by reading these other definitions, you're learning the nuances of what this word does not mean. And by reading the definition, you're learning what it does mean. And that can really sharpen your understanding, especially when it comes to explaining, because you can say it's not this, it's not that, it's not this shade of this meaning, and so forth. And that's the real power of Louw-Nida, that compare and contrast. Okay, so let's right click. That's really the word study section. I would throw in, though, the Bible Sense Lexicon. And let me click on Beware, and let's do Search Bible. Actually, let's do this. Let's go to the actual Bible Sense Lexicon. So you're going to see in all these menus, a lot of times there are these sometimes books that are associated. So for example, when we clicked on the lemma, we could have gone right to the fact book, right to the Bible word study. We can even hear it pronounced, and that's powerful. In the case of the Bible Sense Lexicon, we have it right here. Now, the Bible Sense Lexicon is similar to Louw-Nida. It's classifying words, but it crosses the Old and New Testament, and I love that fact. Plus, it's showing me the relationship. So here's beware, and it means to be alert or be awake. It's different than to look after, keep under scrutiny, and care for, and it's different from seeing, to ascertain how something will turn out. But it is all subordinate to this idea of watching carefully. So to be aware is not to care for something, and it's not just to be to ascertain how something will come out. You can see there's some different meanings here. But the real power of the Bible Sense Lexicon is to be able to search on these senses. So for example, if we wanted to search on beware the Bible sense, we already have it here. We just click search sense beware. And now we're looking at the whole Bible, the same concept. So we can now go through and teach on what God wants us to be aware of, to beware. Be warned about writing books, be on guard, and now we jump into the New Testament. And that is extremely powerful. All right, so that ends the section of word studies, original language, lexicons. We move now to people, places, things, and events, but events is underneath it. So person, place, and things. Here we have disciples. Now, why did disciples come up? Because that